Yeah, so I was today years old when I found out that Powerline from a Goofy movie was actually inspired by Bobby Brown. I know this is a random video to do, but it's just something that's been blowing my mind because for the past week or so, it has not been uncommon for me to listen to maybe 2 to 4 tracks from a Goofy movie soundtrack on Spotify whenever I'm editing or, straightening out things to put on my eBay store. But I know one day last week my nephew came home from school. He was talking about something in regards to like a music class. And I think it was something along the lines of Eye to Eye. I think that was a song that the class learned or they used for like a musical example, or if it was like music the teacher played while they were working. I forgot, because the boy talks so fast I don't remember everything he says. But regardless, I was helping him on an assignment. Either that or we were playing my Switch. We're playing Sonic Racers. And he wanted to listen to the song on Spotify. And then I'm like, that got me on my own little, okay, I got to listen to it now when I'm working. And, when I thought about a Goofy movie, because there is a great like podcast, Double Toasted. I listened to their content here on YouTube, and they did like a retro review of a Goofy movie, which was hilarious in itself because when you see grown ass men reviewing a 90s animated movie, and it's like, yo, they make some great points. It's a great movie. It's like an underrated, well, honestly, it's one of the most underrated Disney films as far as I'm concerned. Up there with the likes of Oliver and Company and The Black Cauldron. Just my opinion. But Powerline, obviously, being a kid of the 90s, oh, Roxanne, that was the crush. Oh, I love Roxanne. But then when you look back and take, a different perspective of the character, you realize she's not that cool in regards to being understanding. For example, when Goofy stops by her house so Max can say goodbye before they go on their road trip, he tries to explain, hey, I can't go to the Powerline party everybody's having because, and she's like, oh no, I'll just find somebody else. And it's like, bro, sis, this kid just like broke so many rules of the administration to crash a school assembly to put on a Powerline performance and to get your attention, and all of a sudden, oh yeah, I don't want to go with you. What? But in any case, aside from Roxanne, Powerline is like the thing everybody talks about in regards to a Goofy movie. Eye to Eye, and look, Stand Out, I don't care what nobody says, it is a great song. I don't think anybody, no, Stand Out is like Michael Jackson's Off the Wall, and Eye to Eye is obviously like Thriller. It overshadowed the prior project to the point where people don't really talk about it as much. But Stand Out, listen to the full version, it's a great song. That's the song that Max was dancing to at the school assembly. But the reason I'm doing the video is like the more I looked at Powerline, because I'm like, you know what? It's a crime. It was a crime, straight up crime, that Tevin Campbell, who just, oh man, wrecked those songs, Stand Out and of course Eye to Eye. He only got 2 songs in the whole movie. Like if you look at a Goofy movie soundtrack, there's only 2 Powerline songs. There are, some behind the scenes like quotes and interviews that say that the music that Max was listening to while he was in the car with Goofy right before they started singing On the Open Road, even though it was just an instrumental, that was allegedly Powerline music, but we don't get confirmation on that. Because people always talk about how, the memes of, wow, Phil Collins, he did not need to go as hard as he did on the Tarzan soundtrack. But people need to talk about Tevin Campbell only got 2 songs for a Goofy movie, and he just killed it. I remember as a kid watching a Goofy movie and thinking, okay, obviously Michael Jackson is like the inspiration for Powerline, because the moment during the concert at the end of the film where he performs Eye to Eye after he comes out of that like a electric orb or whatever, and the first shot we get is of that glove. Well, I mean, everybody in this universe wears a glove, but of that glove, he got the light shining on it, and he brings it down in front of his face and whatnot. Got myself a notion. It's like, you can't tell me that Powerline wasn't inspired by Michael Jackson. However, I decided, because I'm like, well, they got a Wikipedia for everything, so let me go ahead and look at this. And yeah, it was said that Michael Jackson wasn't the inspiration. It was honestly just a kind of a mashup from Prince and Bobby Brown. Now, other sources say Michael was a form of inspiration, but no, a majority say it was Prince and Bobby Brown. But I'm like, you can't tell me Mike didn't have any inspiration, or the designers didn't have any inspiration from Michael Jackson, because like I said, the freaking glove said it all. Now, after doing some research, I'm like, you know what? I could definitely see the Bobby Brown inspiration there for a couple of reasons. Like, number one, Bobby Brown during like the his heyday from, the Don't Be Cruel era, just because that era was just such, people just forget the success of Don't Be Cruel because Bobby Brown's personal life, marriage to Whitney Houston, his own antics overshadowed his career. But Don't Be Cruel, what was it, like 1988, 89? That album was insanely successful. And during those, like, music award shows and whatnot, when Bobby was in his prime, that dude could move like it was nobody's business. He could dance. He could just kill it out there. But the thing about Powerline that I could definitely see the inspiration from Bobby Brown is the hairstyle, because it looks like Powerline has a bit of a high top fade. But if you look at the like the sideburns and whatnot on the side of his head, I'm like, that's obviously inspired by Bobby Brown. But something else that caught my attention, like it did for Max in that particular moment of the movie, was the background dancers. Because the background dancers who passed by while Goofy was like, okay, Max, let's get you up on stage. Well, then again, it's like those dancers and the way they strutted by Max, that reminded me of the dancers from the Every Little Step video. And then when they get up on stage and perform with Powerline, I'm like, yeah, this is just like Every Little Step. When Bobby is in the video, he got the girls and everything. He got the, the Bobby Brown of his, basically his name and signs and whatnot. I'm just like, yeah, that's the Bobby Brown inspiration there. And again, the dancing, the hairstyle. But then with the Prince aspect, I could just kind of get the Prince vibes for like the vocals and whatnot. And then on top of that, well, Prince, Michael, and Bobby were all phenomenal dancers. But I think the key thing here is when Goofy gets on stage and he does the perfect cast. And the thing about it is, Powerline picks up every single move just by watching it. That's definitely Michael Jackson inspired right there, because that was always a big thing about Michael growing up. Like, he would watch James Brown and just a bunch of legendary performers at that time, when he was a kid, like off the side of the stage. You would just watch him and like do the moves, and this was highlighted in the Jackson and American Dream movie. But yeah, this actually makes sense, the fact that Powerline could easily pick up on the moves and just nail it, not even miss a beat, which was phenomenal. So yeah, just a little piece of Disney trivia that I just found out today. Powerline is kind of an amalgamation of Prince, put an asterisk by Michael Jackson, and Bobby Brown. There's also a fan theory that Bobby Brown was supposed to be cast as the voice of Powerline before Tevin Campbell. However, in a 2020 interview, some of the directors and producers stated that it was just a rumor. Brown was only a source of inspiration for Powerline, and if there had ever been any initial thought about whether or not Brown would be interested in the role, it never went anywhere. So it's a kind of a what could have been, like if Bobby Brown voiced the character. But no, Tevin Campbell, that's his stuff. Like, I know, what was it last year, the Can We Talk challenge, but Eye to Eye, in my opinion, is the Tevin Campbell signature song. Even though when people think Powerline, people are like stunned Tevin Campbell was the voice, but no, if you ask me, I think Eye to Eye is Tevin Campbell's most iconic song. So with that being said, did you know about this, beforehand, before March 23rd, 2022, that Powerline was actually, for the culture? He was an amalgamation of some of the biggest artists in black entertainment, and that could be why a Goofy movie has such a cult following, because I saw like a video the other day about how a Goofy movie was such an iconic film for black culture. So yeah, Powerline for the win. With all the reboots and everything, it would be cool to see, like, Disney put out like a Powerline album. I would be here for it. I'm surprised that, in an extremely goofy movie, there wasn't like a Powerline song here or there in the movie. Like Powerline put out another album or something like that. I mean, come on now. I'd be here for it. Tevin Campbell still got the pipes. What was it, like in 2019 or 2020? They had like a big anniversary of a Goofy movie. I think it was like the 25th anniversary. It was something like that. And Tevin Campbell popped out on stage and he sang the full version of Eye to Eye, just like he still got it. So please, Disney, put more Powerline music out there, because Powerline has some of the most, just insanely cool merchandise. I got like 3 Powerline shirts, a pair of Powerline socks. I was going to pre-order the Funko Pop, but it was too expensive. But yeah, more love for Powerline. Definitely one of the most underrated characters in Disney history, from one of the most underrated Disney movies of all time. Thanks so much for tuning in. Hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Follow me on social media. Links are in the description below. Hit subscribe and hit that bell icon and select all. That way you don't miss out whenever I post content on the channel.